Morning, y'all. There's always been a very awkward tension between two different ideas in the crypto community, in the crypto culture. There's one idea, the original Bitcoin idea, which is let's make money better, let's make money fairer, let's make money, as we understand it, better for more people and less shitty. And then on the other side, there's the idea of let's fucking gamble, baby. Let's be degenerates, the investors slash degens who just really want to take risks with their money in order to try to make more money, but really because they just want to feel something. After all, as we know, high stakes gambling is exclusively for rich people who are bored and sad and just want to feel something. It's not for common people like you or me who are keeping track of our bills and just making sure we have enough for rent, right? We all know, gambling is fun if someone can afford it, but it's really just like burning money to feel something, right? So it's very much at odds with this idea of making money better. And I think of nothing better as an example of this than the big time loot boxes. I think there is no better example. So big time, I've got a few videos talking about it. Scroll back a few weeks, maybe a month at this point. You can see that I did a video covering the big time preseason launch. I was pretty optimistic about the game. I do believe at the time of the preseason launch, it really was the first good crypto MMO, at least in its alpha phase. I don't really count Lost Relics as an MMO or other games. There's been a lot of claimed MMO, but I think Big Time at preseason launch really did achieve that like first status. They were the first good crypto MMO, unless you count Mir 4, which no one talks about and isn't really played in the English language gaming community, but is popular elsewhere in the world. But at least, in the English community, Big Time, people who like speak English playing games, Big Time was really the first one. Anyway, the point is they've kind of gone to the dark side now. So this mystery box sale is a $500 loot box. There's 4,000 of them. And this is not the first time in recent times since the preseason launch that Big Time has sold absurdly expensive loot boxes. You can see John, infamous crypto gaming skeptic, posting about it on Twitter here. Bro, just 2 weeks ago, they sold $6,350 loot boxes. Now they're selling $500 ones. How do we live in a timeline where people are buying these? If you bought the last loot boxes, you're already looking at least 10% loss if you try to resell. And then Gaspode, who reviews many, many crypto games, chimed in. The last boxes were were negative expected value, unless you already wanted to buy time shards with massive variance. Loot boxes are dangerously close to gambling, and I would disagree. Loot boxes are gambling. There's absolutely no distinction. A loot box is gambling. A booster pack is gambling. This is why I say TCGs, in particular trading card games, which I play a lot of, are built entirely on a foundation of gambling because booster boxes, booster packs, loot boxes, obviously gambling. You know it, I know it. Point is, it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad because Big Time launched their preseason a month and a half ago, whenever it was, and I was pretty excited. I was like, it's been 2 months actually. It was October 10th. Wow. And I was excited because it was pretty good gameplay. Everyone was coming together to play the game together, and it felt like maybe something was starting to happen. But the problem is, for the last 2 months, it's just been crafting formulas and loot box sales. And this is something that I really think not just Big Time, but a lot of crypto games make this mistake where they start getting traction and then it's all about crafting formulas and burning NFTs to get other resources and loot boxes that are kind of expensive. You can buy them and get rare stuff in the game. Like, the monetization layer of gambling and tokenomics becomes the only thing, and the gameplay becomes a thing that is not really talked about and is not really amplified through content and through people talking. Like, the word of mouth and the content, all of it just gets locked into tokenomics and loot boxes. And I'm just kind of disappointed that Big Time is going down this path where, it just seems like the main thing they're doing is selling really expensive loot boxes. It feels like Big Time is going, a little more to the side of the degen gambling And I thought they were more on the side of like building a really cool game that gives players ownership of their assets. I just don't know. Like, preseason's been out for 2 months. Where's the, balancing the bosses and, shuffling some stuff in the dungeons to make them better and teasing towards new content? The game has a really good initial impression, and I really enjoyed my first 30 to 40 hours. I'm just not sure if the game's going to have a future unless they can really improve the gameplay experience. There's so much to be done. It has only been 2 months since preseason launched, and I don't want to use the fact that they are able to sell expensive loot boxes against them. Maybe this is just how they monetize, and the other stuff is cooking behind the scenes. But I would just say, I think most of us feel this way. Expensive loot boxes in video games are kind of fucking stupid. If you're going to do high stakes gambling, it's probably best to just do it the classic way, right? Go to a casino or play a fucking slot machine or poker. But like, expensive loot boxes in games, it just feels like the shittiest form of high stakes gambling. Like, Counter-Strike is Counter-Strike, okay? Other games are not Counter-Strike. Your loot boxes are not Counter-Strike loot boxes. Like, I don't think every game should be emulating Counter-Strike, and I also don't think Counter-Strike became, Counter-Strike in terms of the loot boxes. I don't think that happened by selling $500 loot boxes to investors. I think that happened organically over a long time with a lot of cheaper, things, and eventually it became something expensive. But yeah, I don't know. This whole focus on loot boxes is cringe, big time. I think is losing the plot a little bit. Really hoping in early 2024, next year, once we get past the holidays, that there'll be a lot more talk about new gameplay features, new dungeons, increasing the variety of the gameplay experience, and not just making it like another round of spreadsheets with adjustments to the crafting formulas. I think every month that it's just crafting formulas and loot boxes is a month where Big Time loses a little bit more momentum. I could be wrong, but that's my thoughts. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. How you feeling about Big Time? How you feeling about the loot box sales? Thanks for watching. Flux signing out.